sometimes they may push back on your initial efforts to get more people to the call. How do you manage that? How do you handle those maybe spicy situations with a personality?
Yep. So now we're talking about multi-threading, which is a huge component of discovery. So multi-threading is your ability to get additional people involved in the deal because usually they're not thinking about that kind of stuff. So if we think about typical problems that people have when they approach the multi-threading conversation, um, one of the key principles is to take the lead.
Mm-hmm.
So you want to come in with a perspective based on how your best buyers get really good outcomes from your solution. That would be number two
Mm-hmm.
is don't multi-thread to sell your solution, sell the outcome. So I'll give you a really practical example of what that sounds like. So I was working a deal. It's about a 150K deal, which is a big training engagement for my services.
For sure.
And
Yeah.
I remember the person that I was speaking with, she recommended after the second call, which I do like a quote unquote demo. It's not software, but the second call is really like, let's kind of like talk about what a training might look like and start scoping it out.
Mm-hmm.
And then we take that to other people and kind of we have an idea basically, right?
Yeah.
On hypothesis we can run by other people. She's like, well, let me just take that dollar amount and let's just run it up the flagpole and see what my CRO thinks.
Ooh.
And I had to stop and be like, no, um, like, yeah, I was like, love the excitement first off. Like, I can tell you really want to do this. Can I make a suggestion? Yeah. So this is the key with multi-threading is like, I need to talk about how people get a great outcome from the training. So I said, hey, one thing I'm really worried about is that you're going to take this number and we don't have any sort of justification behind it. And it's just going to get shot down. The other thing I'm concerned about is typically to get a really good outcome from the training. So you want your AEs to self-source more pipe. When I've worked with companies like, your Gongs and your Medallias and your Zooms, what worked really well was we have your perspective from an enablement standpoint, but we haven't really talked to any of the folks managing the reps, the frontline leaders. We haven't gotten perspective of their VP. And more importantly, before coming to the CRO, we haven't really gotten a perspective on how this kind of fits into their 1-2 year plan.
Mm-hmm.
Typically, I find when we get all of those perspectives, the engagement in the training is really high, the buy-in's high, the adoption's great. We can get some really great long-term outcomes.
Mm-hmm.
So if I could, I would suggest holding off on that, but I have some ideas on what we could do next. What do you think? And I had to have that really candid conversation